Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the dynamic television show, Atlanta Live, featured right here on WATC TV channel 57. I'm your co-host for tonight, Shana Thornton, and I'm with the one and only, the amazing Marissa Daniel.
Thank you. I am so blessed to be here, and we are so excited to have an amazing show tonight. Are you excited?
I am super excited. I'm elated with joy because we have some great testimonies and exclusive interviews for you. Now, we're going to be speaking with a very special 7-year-old, newly turned 7-year-old entrepreneur who's putting his wits not to just the business, but also to helping those in the community. You've got to check out his story. And he's joined by 2 important community business partners that are saying it's not just about entrepreneurship and profit, it's about touching the lives in others. And you know, Marissa, we also have an amazing interview, a conversation with an education advocate who believes that every child should have the same opportunity. And she's going to provide some very helpful tips for every parent. So get that notepad out, or however you're going to take those notes, because you want to hear this. And our last talk show guest is a very interesting and intriguing gentleman who has traveled the world as a veteran, and he has some amazing stories to tell about his travel and his journey with God.
That is so awesome. And you know, Miss Shana, you should be a proud mom to have your one and only son here. Well, he's one of your sons, but he's here. That's a proud moment, huh?
It is. I'm very interested in knowing how that interview is going to go. So
it's going to go fun.
When you're sitting across from your own kid, right, they can share all sort of things about mommy. So we will see. But Marissa, let's not certainly exclude our wonderful talent tonight on the music set, live from the music set. And they're going to be sharing some great music, of course. It's a great trio, a father and his 2 amazing, gifted children, and they're here to celebrate with us tonight. And I hear the first song is Celebration, right?
Yes. And it's definitely a celebration right now, especially during the holiday season, right?
It is.
Something to celebrate Jesus Christ.
It certainly is. And you know, I know we have viewers at home. Maybe you're at your cubicle, you're in the car sitting, hopefully, maybe watching us from Facebook or online. Do know that God is with you, no matter what you're going through right now. You know, maybe you're saying your kid isn't really excelling at school and you've tried tutors and you're frustrated. Maybe your marriage is not where it needs to be, or you're looking to be married and you're getting frustrated. God has never left anyone, and trust me, you will not be the exception, right?
Amen. That was a word. Amen. And speaking of that word, let's go ahead and celebrate what God has done for us, right?
I'm so excited because back here on Atlanta Live, they're one of our favorite musical acts. It's the Tim Montgomery Band, and they have Celebration.
Amen.
Come on, put your hands together. We got something to celebrate. Yeah, we do. Oh, it's a celebration. You know that it's a celebration. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. Well, there's some praising going on around here, a dedication to last throughout the year. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We're gonna celebrate your praises with you. Come on now. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. Yeah, let's all celebrate, have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. Come and get this treasure. Everyone around the world, come on. Oh, it's a celebration. You know that it's a celebration. let's celebrate. Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was such a great music selection.
Yes,
Did you enjoy that?
It was amazing.
Yes, this is a celebration tonight. I feel it.
It is. I love it. The holiday season.
Yes.
And we have so much to be grateful for.
Oh, yes, we do. God has been so amazing throughout the whole entire year.
Oh, yes, always. And speaking of being grateful, I'm so excited to introduce the world to a young man, and he's no stranger to Atlanta Live, but he's back on again, and he's showing how grateful he is to all the blessings God has given him.
Yes.
I'm talking about the founder and president of T&N Bow Ties and Apparel, Treandos Thornton. He's newly turned 7 years old and is here with two amazing community advocates and leaders within the Henry County area of Atlanta Metro, talking about Miss Sanji Monroe and also Ashley Gay Johnson. Welcome to Atlanta Live.
Ladies. Welcome. And Miss Treandos, so handsome and so cute, and an entrepreneur at the age of 7 years old. How exciting and so impressive.
Very good.
Oh, amen. Very good. What inspired you to start your business?
So I was in my dad's room, and he was putting on a tie, and I said, "How do you get to wear a tie?" But I don't.
Oh, wow.
And then I asked my mom, "Can I wear a tie?" And then my mom said, "Sure." And I said, "Can we give ties out to others?" And she said, "Like a business?" And I said, "Yes."
Wow. Wow. So what do you do with this business? Do you go out to the community, to your schools, and pass out ties? How do you do it?
So you can go to you can buy it online.
Okay.
And buy it, or you can get it in portion.
Oh, wow. So how do you feel when you wear your bow tie? Do you feel like a man? Do you feel like a professional? How does it make you feel?
A professional.
Oh, because that's what you are. You are a professional entrepreneur. That is so awesome. Aren't you proud?
I am. I'm proud of him and his brother and all the kids that are really inspiring each of us around the world. So it's nice to be inspired by Treandos, but he has so many friends, and we have a village that's also encourage and continue to motivate us. And he motivated us when he started his very own community food and toy drive.
Wow. And how did you start that?
When I was 4 on summer break, I was watching TV, and then on the commercial there was kids crying, and I asked my mom, "Why are they crying?" And my mom said, "Because they don't have no food or toys." And I asked my mom if we can do anything about it, and she said yes. So we gathered all my family and talked about it.
Wow. Wow, beautiful. God is definitely using you. Just imagine what you're going to grow up to be at the age of 20, 30 years old. He has a big heart.
Thank you. And Treandos, speaking of heart, I tell the world, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a heart doctor known as a cardiologist.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome.
So
Wait, you should be proud.
Oh, thank you. I am, but also very proud that we have these two amazing community partners that have joined us this year. We actually have 3. Minuteman Press of McDonough is one of them as well. But we have Sanji Monroe with us. She's the owner and operator of Speaking Pieces Boutique, located in McDonough, Georgia. And we also have Ashley Gay Johnson with us, and she is the president and founder of Rising Phoenix Enrichment Program. So, ladies, thank you for joining our Treandos on this journey. Sanji, why was it important for you to, if you will, you're an entrepreneur, you're a very successful businesswoman, but why was it critical to look beyond the profit and the business day-to-day operations?
Yeah, well, I've always been involved in the community, and I just know that the true connect is within the community, so reaching out to others that shop in my boutique or may know of someone that needs help or support. We're all in the community together, so we definitely, to me, it's important to support one another.
That's key. It's about together, that village. And I know this, that you've been on board with his initiative for 3 years now. This is the third year.
3 years.
Wow. And can you tell us, explain to our audience at home, what has that journey been like versus the first year to now?
Yeah, you know what? The journey has been amazing, just to see the number of people that come out with just giving so much. And as you know, we call it come help us fill the barrel. Yeah. And the barrel has been overflowing. So it's just a great thing to do, great community initiative. And for the past 3 years, I've just enjoyed seeing how people really want to help those in need.
And that is amazing. And you spoke of filling the barrel. I know we have some B-roll footage to show right now for our audience at home, or they're watching us at work. There you can see the logo for the bow tie business of Treandos. And Treandos, of course, it takes a village. We can see your younger brothers depicted there. Tell us about your younger brother.
He's the vice president.
Okay. Wow.
And his name is Noah.
Noah, very good. And you also could see at home there was a photo of being featured with Miss Sanji. That was a recent donation right there. Sanji, I know that you've actually had to have a refill because other community members outside of the Henry County area from DeKalb and Thornton have also come to donate not just non-perishable food items, but unwrapped toys, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the overflow has been tremendous, so it hasn't just been centralized in our community, like you said. The word has spread about what we're doing, and people have been bringing in unwrapped toys as well. And so a lot of children and families are going to have an amazing Christmas because of those that have supported this initiative with our little Treandos.
Nice. And I know, of course, you all are collecting, donating, but it goes through a larger organization, right?
Right.
That feeds families as well.
Yes.
United Food Force.
Yes, United Food Force has been a staple in the community, and this partnership has been tremendous.
Very nice. And speaking of a partnership, it's nothing like a partnership when there's always other people involved. Yes. And you and Minuteman Press were a part of it from day one. I know Treandos and Daddy and brother have been super excited by that. But this year, we're also excited to share Treandos. Who is sitting to your next? Who's sitting next to you?
Miss Johnson.
Miss Johnson! Yes. Miss Johnson, we're excited to have you on this year. And tell us, what was your interest to join forces with Treandos and Sanji and Minuteman Press, owned and operated by Brian Chandler?
Well, to me, honestly, it was a no-brainer. Okay. You all have supported Rising Phoenix Enrichment Program from day one, and it's the least bit that we could do for you. And when we heard about it being a food drive for other kids in the community, we're all about community. We're all about family, and we're all about a village, because it takes a village to make anything work.
Wow.
Yes. What is your guys' goal with you guys' company? Like, what exactly do you guys want to, what is your goal?
Our goal right now, we are currently trying to purchase a building for our young STEAM scholars that we have. And Treandos is one of our STEAM scholars from our STEAM summer camp. So we're trying to, when you get growth, you need to expand.
Yes.
So we're trying to expand, grow our business so we can offer this to all kids in the area.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing.
That
I
is.
know, Ashley, you're an educator as well. So I think when we talk about hunger, and one of the staples of Treandos food and toy drive is non-perishable food items, of course. I think so many people say, well, kids need to focus on the academics of it. And there, our viewers can also see that there's a flyer attached where it lists those locations and that we need your help. But when kids go to school and they're hungry, they had one bowl of cereal perhaps when they wanted half a bowl of another one. As an educator, as a mother to two amazing sons yourself, how does that impact a child?
They can't focus. They're not able to. One of the guys, Joshua Dickerson, who came out, who would mention about kids not having a pencil or anything.
Okay.
So when you don't have proper nutrition, you do have a lack of oxygen that goes to the brain and so forth,
okay,
which causes you not to think properly. So just think, if you're not thinking properly, if you don't have the tools that you need to succeed,
that's right,
other kids look at you and they start bullying or laughing or anything else when you never know somebody's story.
That's right.
It could always be you or it could be somebody else that you may know. So at the end of the day, we have to just stay together as a village, work together, and make sure that our kids are taken care of because they are our future.
They are, and it's so true. They are our future. You know, Sanji, when we talk about our faith and being a Christian, what does your journey with God say about giving back to others? Because in all fairness, you are going out of your way to bring strangers into your business to all help local families. But how does that fit into your faith?
It fits into my faith because I've always had been taught to inspire and encourage. And that started out in my childhood. And so when I entered into the business world, being an entrepreneur, those are two of the things that remain constant in me, is to inspire and encourage. And part of that is looking out for others. You know, we all have to give back. There is just no way that this world could possibly be a better place if we're not giving back, if we're not inspiring and encouraging, because, sometimes, life deals you, you never know. Cards, and you never know. So it's very important to me as a business owner in the community to always inspire and encourage. And I welcome anyone into the boutique. I get people from all over. And we talk about, it's just, we always say it's not just a boutique, it's a ministry. That's right. So it's always a place to inspire and encourage, and I use that as my platform.
Wow.
I am so inspired by you because, like I told you earlier, when I was reading your story, your background, a woman of faith, you've been devoted into the word since you were just a child.
Yes,
and what encouraging word do you have someone? An encouraging word for someone out there that may need to hear a word? Is there something in you that you want to?
I would say to anyone, I was in corporate America for many, many years, and then I had an opportunity to pursue a dream of owning a boutique, and fashion has always been my passion, and I stepped out on faith. I knew it was my passion, and I just stepped out on faith and made it happen. And here I am 5 years later. So what I would say to anyone that is thinking about, from an entrepreneur standpoint, thinking about starting their own business, make sure it is your passion. It's something that you would want to do, even if it was for free.
That's right.
And just go for it. Be ready for challenges, because I know my parents always told me if it became easy, then it's probably not worth having, and you probably won't be successful at it. So be ready for the challenges, and then you would definitely reap the benefits of pursuing, entrepreneurship.
Beautiful.
And that is why you're so successful
That's
right
right.
now.
You've been blessed because you continue to give to others.
Yes.
Ashley, when she talked about things not coming easy, you're an educator with a nonprofit that really focuses on children and getting them to reach their potential. But you and I both know half of the parents or guardians watching us right now can say, school does not come easy for my child, Ashley. They're a smart kid. They're a good kid. I want them to be everything and more, but they seem to be struggling in reading. They seem to be struggling in math or science. For that parent that is frustrated with that, because we all know you can get frustrated, right? When you know your kid in your mind, you think they can do better, they should be doing better, but they're not.
So even with that, when it comes to that, we look at everybody learns differently. We all have different learning styles. So when it comes to our kids, we make sure we try to cater to their learning styles. So whether or not it's hands-on, we try to do a lot of hands-on activities. Because it's easier when you are a visual or you are kinesthetic learner, whatnot, where you're using your hands, and even if you hear us talking. So when we engage our kids, it's like, oh, hey, we're about to learn about just anything in general that we may have at our camp. If we're doing robotics or if we're doing some type of engineering where we have our kids construct some type of activity. So therefore, we make sure that we use their critical thinking skills. We make sure they think, write it out. talk to each other, work with each other.
That's key.
So we try to make sure that we encompass everything in education to, I guess, bring it full circle. Because even when they work in groups, sometimes kids don't want to hear anything the parent or teacher has to say. So therefore, we let our kids work together, and they learn from each other, and they listen to each other more than us.
That's right.
So when you see that and you notice where they're falling short, that's where you stand in the gap for those kids. And that's where you tailor a program or anything that you're trying to do for those kids, for the kids who are struggling, how to make it fun, how to make it interesting and engaging. That's what we try to do with our kids.
And that's important to be able to reach them and connect them. It's the holiday season. I've got to hear what you all want to do for the holiday season. Treandos, do you have a special message for other kids or grown-ups out there dealing with the community food drive?
Yes. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh, thank you. And also, Sanji, do you have a special message for everyone this holiday season?
I just really wish that everyone have a very joyful holiday season and enjoy your family and just have a great time with family or close friends if you can, because that's truly what it's all about.
That's right. It makes a difference. And Ashley, any special messages out there this holiday season? As we know, it is joyful for many of us, but for others who have lost loved ones that are going through something, the holidays can tend to, if you will, platform those feelings and emotions more. Anything right now for a young man who's watching, who wants to be joyful and happy, but he's thinking of times nostalgic that were better for him.
And at this time, I experienced that same thing. I lost my father 2 years ago, November 15th of 2016. Here it is, holidays are hard for us. So just to know that you have the memories that you can rely on, just the good times, go back to those good times, because they make a difference of how your feelings are and where you're headed. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Surround yourself with family or good friends who are really a good support system and who have your back. Because at the holidays, it is a hard time for people because they may not have money where they can go out and purchase gifts for others or anything. Take the smallest bit that you have and give it away
and
say, hey, if I don't have money or anything, here's a hug, here's a thought, here's just something uplifting. That's what it takes.
To make a difference in someone's lives. The Food and Toy Drive 2018 Community Food and Toy Drive is going on right now, inspired by a 4-year-old who is a newly turned 7-year-old. Treandos, where can people go to learn more about your bow tie business or the Community Food Drive?
TNNbowties.com.
Thank you. Thank you, Treandos, Sanji, and Ashley. What an amazing interview with 3 people that are phenomenal, right, Marissa? Well, speaking of phenomenal, we're back live on the music set with Tim Montgomery Band, and have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Yourself a merry little Christmas. Your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Little Christmas, the Yuletide game. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in olden days. be together if the fate allows. Hang a shining star up on the highest bough. Oh yeah, would you have a merry, oh Merry Christmas? Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
I can tell you that song never gets old for me. What a beautiful rendition of a very great traditional classic. Well, everyone, you're watching Atlanta Live. It's live right here on WATC TV channel 57. Now, if you watch this network, then you know that all of our programming and content aims to educate, inspire, and motivate. And tonight's edition of Atlanta Live is doing just that. And we are live, okay? Lots of broadcasts out there aren't. We bring you live music and live testimonies aimed to make a difference and impact your life. There's a lot going on this holiday season, and I think our last three guests certainly highlighted that. And in a time period that's intended to be joyful for many of us, and some of us it certainly is, but for many of you that may be going through something, again, thinking of loved ones you've lost or different situations that may have occurred or occurred outside of the holiday season, stay faithful to our God, okay? There is a lot going on, but be sure to make sure you're taking in the small moments and the big moments. And we don't get caught up so much in all of that holiday shopping list, okay? Because the season is all about our God, and may we never forget that in celebrating the birth of our Savior, okay? So take a moment, slow down, and if you miss one of those gifts on the shopping list, trust me, you'll live to see another day, and all is well. Well, speaking of well, hopefully you're doing well, and if you have a praise report, call our prayer line. If you have something you want them to pray about, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's an exam you're having, maybe you're waiting for the results of a cancer test. Whatever it is, know that our God is with you. He will not ever, ever abandon you. And you can see the phone number right there at the bottom of the screen for our prayer lines. It's open right now. We have prayer warriors, we have ministers, we have evangelists that are with you right now. And I'm going to go live to the prayer room with my co-host, Marissa Daniel.
Welcome everyone to the Atlanta Live Prayer Room, and I am so excited and so blessed to be back here with Pastor Minor. Pastor Minor, I do apologize. And it's such good to be here with you tonight. So tell me, Pastor, what prayers have been coming in tonight?
Well, it's always there's prayer for finances, prayer for family members.
Okay.
And, of course, the season we're in, prayer that they'll have things for Christmas.
Yes.
And it's always a pleasure, myself along with others from 1 Corinthians True Christ. We're here especially to pray for people that are watching us here live, and we want to let them know that we're here for them.
Amen. We're here for you. That's, amen. You said it. Perfect. We are here for you, and to let people know that prayer still works. Amen, Pastor?
It still works.
Prayer still works?
It still works. And we pray the prayer of faith, which means we don't have to know how God's going to do it. We don't have to see how he's going to do it. We just know he's going to do it.
Amen.
But we always love to offer them salvation.
Yes.
You know? And the Bible says in Romans 10:9-10 that if thou wilt confess with your mouth and believe in the heart that God has raised Jesus from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. And I like to let them know that if they can just believe that, then God has saved them, and now they're part of the family.
Ooh,
and we can now receive what God has for us. And when we pray the prayer of faith now, we're believing that God is going to do it.
Amen. Amen. I feel like shouting back here. Amen, Pastor. Amen. Do you have an encouraging word for someone out there that may be hesitant to pick up that phone to call, that may need that extra strength?
Yes, if you're there, pick it up, 770-300-9828. Call us. You're not alone.
No.
There are many calls coming in. There are other people in the same predicament probably, but we're here for you. We want you to know that we'll listen to you, we'll pray for you, we'll reach out to God on your behalf. And the Bible says if we touch and agree on anything, God will do it.
Woo! Amen. We only have a few seconds here, Pastor. Could you please lead us into prayer?
Yes, I can. Dear wise eternal God, we thank you. We bless you, God, for this day. We thank you, God, for allowing us to be in this place for your people. We ask that you would touch their hearts, give them the motivation to call so that we might hand their petitions over to you. For the prayer of the righteous availeth much, God. We give it all to you now, and we ask in Jesus' name that you would take care of any situation for anybody that's waiting and calling this line tonight.
Amen. Amen. That was so awesome. Thank you so much, Pastor, for that. Now we're going to go back to the studio.
I have come so far away down the road of my own mistakes in hopes you would hear me pray. Oh Lord, keep me in your reach. It's a sacrifice, my soul's renewed, my heart relieves. In you I'll find my peace. Whom the angels sing, know my joy, feel my suffering, shining storm, make this love you bring so bright that I might believe in my way. Spirit free, in you I'll find my peace. In you I'll find my peace. trusting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and mistletoe will help to make the season bright. Tidy tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They say that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every mother's child is going to spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. Been said many times, many ways. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to Christmas. Would you have yourself a Merry Christmas
Wow, that was such a beautiful selection. Yes. And now I am in the Christmas spirit. Such an awesome job to the Tim Montgomery Band. Awesome, awesome, awesome selection. Now I am so excited to introduce another powerful, phenomenal woman of God who is here to testify and to share what God has done for her. Trust me, she is going to be an inspiration to you, just like she was to me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome the beautiful, the anointed Miss Carisha Moore.
Welcome. Welcome to Atlanta.
Glad to be here.
Excited to have you on.
Welcome to have you.
Honored.
Welcome, yes.
So now,
Go ahead.
Carisha, you're an education advocate, right? So that's a mouthful, right? So obviously you're an advocate, you help others, you uplift us, but education is your focus, if you will. Tell us exactly what you focus on, because education's a powerful word, but it's really a spectrum. It can go lots of different places. Explain.
Right, so I'll tell you a little bit about my history. I was an educator, and I taught elementary school in 2 schools that were drastically, could not be more different. One was in a very affluent area, and one was in a more rural, impoverished area. And what I found was that all of my students had all the potential in the world,
Powerful.
but the difference was access, opportunity, and exposure. And so I taught for a few years after that, but I know that I felt called to help young people gain access, opportunity, and exposure despite their zip code. There's so much more to education than reading, writing, and arithmetic. And that's what I'm on a mission to do.
Wow.
I mean, you said a lot as a parent, and I think my husband and I are very involved in my son's education journey, but so many parents do stick to the basics, right? We say we send them to school. We assume that the school is up to par. That's our assumption. A lot of us don't do a whole lot of research because we don't have necessarily the background or the research ability or think about it to do it. But we say, well, they seem to be making good grades, be it A's and B's or C's or whatever it is. And you think, well, they're going to have the same opportunity. But what you just said is very interesting. So I'm assuming you want our children to be challenged where they are as well, right?
Absolutely. So much learning can happen outside of the classroom. I always say parents are every child's first teacher. So even though we send them to school, it's by law, right? You send them to school, that's 7.5 hours. There is so much more learning that needs to take place. To me, that's the equalizer. That helps to level the playing field, especially when you're talking about youth who maybe come from underserved areas, et cetera. You know, exposure to jobs, careers, helping them to identify their passions. That's what I'm very passionate about.
See, it's teachers like you, educators, that makes a difference. Because I only had a few teachers, I could count on my hands, who really poured into me. So I love educators like you, because you don't have this a lot in the school system.
Right, and I will say education can take place outside of the classroom. So you have nonprofits, you have churches, families, caregivers, neighbors. You know, I myself work for a nonprofit, Usher's New Look, and that's what we're doing. We're working outside of the classroom as well as with the public school system to help provide these additional opportunities for the youth that we work with.
Oh, I love that. When you said career exposure, because I think that's something that a lot of parents sort of let blow over. We're thinking, well, they're reading, or if they're making good grades, or they're being promoted, so you know what, Miss Moore, it must be up to par to a certain degree. But a lot of times I think children are exposed to maybe what we're doing as parents, how we're employed, how we make a living, or maybe what they're seeing on social media or on television, when there are a lot of different careers that don't necessarily get the notoriety that others do, but they can be just as enjoyable for children or as productive for our society.
You said a key word, enjoyable. You always want to start with, what is it that that child is passionate about? And I think all children show us from a very young age, whether it's art or sports or speaking, that all of that can lead to a particular career, but it takes cultivating that child's gifts and their spark, as we call it at Usher's New Look, right? Their spark, what it is that they're passionate about. So you're talking for birthdays. Let's get presents that relate to what it is that they enjoy doing. For Christmas, this holiday season, what is it that your child likes to do? Maybe that can lead to one of their gifts, right? To help them to cultivate that gift. And it doesn't always cost money. There are lots of things that are free that you can help your child to take advantage of.
You know, when you said spark and different interests, I think, so this is real talk for real people, right, Marissa? That when someone's watching us right now from home, they're saying, I hear you, but maybe they're saying, I'm more into literature, and I have a daughter that's the total opposite. And you know, parents, as much as we love our kids, we're human, right? And maybe we're thinking we connect more to people that may have the same interests. What does a mom do where she's trying to connect with her daughter, but the mom doesn't necessarily have an interest or the skill level or set, and maybe the math or the science, just as an example, how does she connect with her child, or maybe even converse with the child about that topic?
So you may not have the wherewithal to be able to have that conversation. You may not have the skills. My daughter is an very artsy person. My son is very smart and plays basketball. I don't have skills in either of those areas. And so you find people that do, right? You find opportunities. You know, I think there's a night at the High Museum that's free on Sunday afternoon. It's free. Taking your child to go, you know, to a particular museum, or helping them to join a sports team that may help to cultivate their skills. So you may not be able to teach them everything, but it's your job to shepherd them to these opportunities.
And you know, that's exactly what my mom and my dad did for me. They knew that I had an interest in communications and journalism. And they both put me in a summer program, cater to
Very
journalism.
good.
So
Smart.
yes. So
And look at you're an amazing journalist. Wow.
Thank you.
But I mean, that's
Yes.
connecting the dots.
Oh, yeah. And I
Right.
will say, once you hone in on that thing that you love to do, that gift or that talent that you have, education becomes relevant.
Yes.
You talked earlier that you only look at maybe what your mom or dad or your immediate family, their particular jobs. Well, then it can broaden your horizon as to career opportunities that are out there that you can take advantage of. So all of that is very important.
That is.
That
It's
is
very
awesome.
important. And I think important, it also instills confidence in our children, right? That they can see, even like for girls, I know you have a daughter, an amazing daughter, for them to see that, hey, it may not be a lot of perhaps electrical engineers that are females, but it's good to go out and meet those that are, because that can inspire and motivate.
Oh, yeah. And just allowing them to have hands-on opportunities. That can
Yes.
do wonders for a child's confidence. Giving them the platform to share their gifts and
Yes.
talents, just as you had Treandos here
Yes,
earlier, you
yes.
know, giving him the confidence to be able to speak about what it is that they do. We were in the school one day, and we do a thing with Usher's New Look called Expressions.
Okay.
And that's an opportunity for youth to be able to come up and to share their gift or their talent or their spark. And I remember a young boy was sitting in the front of the classroom, but very quiet. And we watched all of these other children go up and dance and rap and do poetry. And then he raised his hand ever so shyly and said, "I can do karate."
Oh, wow.
And he got up there and did a whole karate kata. And all of his peers were like, "Oh my gosh, we didn't know you could do that." So it helps to build confidence. And imagine the social clout that is built, you know, once you can see that your friends have gifts and talents that you didn't know about.
And that's powerful.
Wow, that is powerful. Now, Miss Moore, you wrote a book.
I did.
Tell us about your book.
So I wrote Michaela the Koala.
Okay.
And I wrote the book about 6 years ago.
Yes.
And my daughter, who was 2 at the time, she loved picky-ups, as we call them. Right? She
They
was
love you
always
with those.
extending her hand and saying, "Picky up, picky up." And then I would be out and I would hear other little children saying the same thing. And I said, you know what, this is different. It crossed racial lines, etc. And my son, we were eating breakfast one morning and my son said, "Michaela is just like a koala. She loves picky ups." And the teacher in me said, "That sounds like a book, Michaela the Koala." And so I wrote the book, but it lived on my computer for 6 years.
Wow.
And well, for 5 years.
Okay.
And that year I thought, you know what, I'm going to start to make these ideas that God has given me come to fruition. And I'm going to start with that book. And I said, it's January, by December, I will have this book published.
Wow.
And that's what I did. I just took baby steps.
Yes.
And the book is all about a little girl who seeks affection from her family, and they provide it to her. So even the dedication in the beginning of the
Yes.
book, it says to all those parents out there who provide picky-ups for their children.
That's beautiful.
Which is love. I know in the B-roll, and if they'll put it up again, there was a front page image of the book, which really is all-inclusive. It's family.
It is.
Which I love that. So
Yes.
it's all about togetherness.
Yes.
You know, speaking of togetherness, right? I know you're also working on another book.
I am.
That's about connecting the dots, talking about your educational experience, your work with your nonprofit, Usher's New Look that you're working with, and also what you've seen out and about in the community yourself. I know it's not out yet. I know we're super anxious to get it in our hands. But for a mom or dad or a grandparent or guardian that's raising the next generation, Grisha, maybe the next cardiac surgeon, maybe the next mechanical engineer, what will they gain from your book?
So I've been in education for almost 20 years.
Okay.
And what I have found is that sometimes we think we can only take our children as far as we have gone.
Yeah, I do.
And I want to dispel that myth. And that's what this book is about. It's about helping your child compete to succeed. And that means looking beyond yourself, but looking outward and finding those opportunities that's going to help that child to reach their potential, identifying what their talents and gifts are, and then those tips, easy tips for parents that can help to cultivate those gifts so that they can fulfill their potential and be the best adult and citizen that they can be.
Wow.
Yes. What advice do you have to those parents who, you know, believe that I don't believe in calling a child bad. Oh, they're bad. You know, I don't like that term. What advice would you give to that parent who's struggling to raise their child?
I would say that looking at what behaviors that child is exhibiting, right? And then sometimes looking deeper into what's causing those behaviors. You may need to call in a professional to assist with you. But I would say redirecting them in a positive way, right? I do believe you have to discipline a child so that they can be their best version and present themselves in a way that's respectful to themselves and their family. But at the same time, when you're struggling with a child that may be difficult to handle, accessing the help that you may need so that that child can be the best that they can be, and so that they don't miss the education that they need to grow up and to be successful.
Yes, because it takes a village.
It does.
To raise a
Oh,
child.
absolutely.
Yes.
You know, Marissa, you bring up a good point. Carisha, let's talk about generational concerns because she said the BAD word, right?
Yes.
And you have some parents who I think affectionately say it. They don't mean any harm by saying it, but I do think there's power in the tongue. I happen to think that personally and professionally. And maybe they grew up hearing that.
Absolutely.
Maybe they grew up where there was an aunt or grandmother or mother or father when they became upset with the decisions the child was making, even into teenage or young adult years, they said things that weren't so kind. And maybe that grandmother or mother justified it by saying, well, it was done to me, and that's tough love, and I'm preparing you for a tough world. Obviously, then we're talking about a habit that's harder to break because even though that mother or father knows how that would make them feel, that it made them feel belittled and maybe not so great about themselves, but yet they're dealing with a child, and children are blessings, but most children will test patience to a certain degree at some stage in their lives, right on their journey. And so that parent finds themselves doing the exact same thing, maybe that their mother or father or grandmother did to them. How can they separate themselves from that? Because you and I both know it's easier said than done. For them to break what's normal for them, to allow their child to be the best they can be.
Right.
I think for one, you have to acknowledge that you want there to be a change.
Okay.
Right? And then to allow yourself to be a part of a community where there are people without judgment.
Okay.
Judgment does not bring about change.
No, it doesn't.
And that from this book, that's what I'm clear. This is not about judgment. This is about taking what I have seen over my 20-year career and those best practices that help. So being open to change, recognizing that there is an opportunity for change in order to better your child. I think that's the starting point.
Okay, and that's a great starting point. This is a very tough question for you, but I think it's one that needs to be asked for a parent watching at home, for someone who's in a zip code that's more affluent. And we know those areas in Atlanta Metro or in Chicago Metro or in LA versus a child who comes from a zip code, maybe there's a lower income level. Does that child in the more affluent area have a clear advantage, in your opinion, Carisha?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I will say they can have a clear advantage. In some ways, things are set up for there to be an advantage, but it does not have to be. And that's exactly what my book is getting to, Shana.
Sharing.
Your zip code should not dictate where you are going.
Amen.
That's true.
Yes, that
I mean,
is so
because
true.
I would like to think, and Dr. Dorothy Height would always say in so many words, that education is the key. We have to use it to capitalize on opportunity. And I think for certain generations, maybe that's not so much held on to anymore. I think it was in previous generations. And I think, and not to stereotype millennials or Zs, if you will, but I think sometimes we have young adults who say, well, I can make it on Instagram, and so-and-so doesn't have a high school diploma. They haven't gone to a technical school or a four-year institution, and they're famous and they're wealthy. So what do I need education for?
Yes.
And I will say to those young people, because we serve, students like that, it's all about training them and showing them the opportunities that exist. Just like it was done for you or I. We may have had, every generation has something.
Yes,
right?
that's
I was
true.
Generation X, and we were going to end the world, So every generation has that thing, that sort of label on them. But I think it's about being a mentor, being there to assist, and to help them and guide them on their journey. Everyone has a different journey.
Yes.
I myself was an educator, then practiced law, and here I am
Running
as
a nonprofit.
running a nonprofit, right? And so everyone has their journey. So I think it's about no judgment and providing yourself as a mentor to all young people.
Yes.
Before you leave us, Carisha, we have to address, where does faith fit into the education journey? Because you said so many things, no judgment, and I kept saying, that's the Holy Bible. When you were saying, give that child, pour love into them, that's the Holy Bible. Where does it fit in? Because I know I talked about the common frustration that parents can have with children, be it, as you pointed out so eloquently, be it behavior or maybe academic success or lack of. Where does our faith fit into that?
So the thing that comes to me is faith without works is dead.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Powerful.
So you add faith with the work of parenting, education, going out on a limb to help that child. It may not be your biological child, but is there a kid in your neighborhood that could easily take the wrong path? Stepping out on faith and saying, I'm going to actually put some work in behind this child and help them because I see so much potential. No child should be left behind because they don't have parents that can help shepherd them.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Or the lack of opportunity maybe the parents have had themselves, or when you have well-intended, hard-working mothers and fathers who are doing the best they can, but perhaps they don't necessarily have the time as some other families have to pour into their child, because after all, let's be realistic, Risha, they're trying to pay bills.
Right.
That's right. And so that's why it takes a village. And that's why accessing church, nonprofit organizations, or other organizations that you can provide that support for your child is important. None of us can do it by ourselves, trust me.
None of us.
And you know, we need leaders like you, because you do have children out here that don't have any parents.
Absolutely.
That don't have any family to see that potential and that love in them. So we need people like you to say, hey, I'm here for you. I see greater for you, and we can do this together.
And you know what? What our students at Ushers New Look say is, it becomes their family.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. That village becomes family.
Yes.
Risha Moore, an amazing education advocate. Such a blessing and pleasure. We're going to have you back on. Very quickly, where can individuals go to find out more information about this new book, or the really cute one, Michaela and the Koala Bear? It's already out.
CompeteToSucceed.com.
I love it. Compete to succeed. But don't let anything else compete for your attention, because we're taking a very brief break, and we're going to be right back on. The first hour of Atlanta Live is done, but we have 30 more minutes of great talk and live music. You're watching Atlanta Live. I'm Shana Thornton, your host.
I'm Marissa Daniel. See you soon.
Stay with us. Well, happy holidays, everyone, and welcome back to the amazing television show, Atlanta Live, featured right here on WATC TV Channel 57. I'm here with a wonderful friend of the show. If you were watching the first hour of the dynamic segment, you know that the Tim Montgomery Band has been with us, and they're going to continue to be with us for the last 30 minutes of the show. Tim, great seeing you again, as always.
Likewise, likewise.
You're a friend of the show. Your music is amazing. All night I have been jamming spiritually. I'm like, oh, I love it. You're playing some of the greatest, well-known traditional holiday music, putting your own twist to it.
Yeah, we're enjoying that. First off, thank you for having us again.
Always.
It's a pleasure. You know, we've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now, but yeah, it's just a pleasure to come and do Christmas music and to be blessed and by all
bless
of the
others.
people that have come and to be a part of this thing. It's just a wonderful thing.
And what an amazing ministry. I consider your music a ministry.
Yes.
Now tell us who's a part of this team. I know they're very close to you in blood, right?
Kinda.
Who do we have with us today?
Well, my daughter,
Yes.
Alexis Montgomery, and my son on the drums, Landon, and my wife in the audience, Karen.
All
She
right,
kind of
Karen.
does all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and you don't get to see her, but sometime on our Facebook Live stuff, you get to hear
Show
her voice.
a little bit of it.
She'll talk a little bit.
It's a family affair.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
How important is family to you this time of year? Because I think sometimes, and I mentioned it earlier with Marissa, we get caught up on a holiday shopping list, right? We say, I gotta get this and I gotta get this and the decorations and everything. And sometimes we stress ourselves. But here you're with family traveling, doing God's work through music. How key is it to be together as that family unit?
Very, very, very much so. It's wonderful. I've traveled with other people with bands, and so I don't really know what it's like to be without my family, because we've always done that, and it's a wonderful thing to be in the fixings up of the Christmas and all of that. It just, we just work together to do it. Mainly the girls do it, and we sit back and enjoy it. And,
to bring it out.
Yeah, and we have to lift all the stuff.
Sounds like a classic family. Sounds like my family. I'm very familiar with that. Now, I know you've had some amazing music already come out, but next year I heard through a little birdie that you have 2 projects coming out. Now, that's ambitious and that's a lot to do, but tell us about those 2 projects.
It's crazy. It's just the past few months songs have just been coming to us, and writing just, even before programs and before shows, it just start writing and music and different stuff. So we've got 25 songs that we are putting on recordings now. So we're going to take some of them and have one hopefully out by January, and then one out toward the end of the year, another one.
So you all are busy. So not only are you a powerful vocalist with your voice, and by the way, I love your range.
Well,
it's on key. And the instrumentals, you have a guitarist, daughter, and you on the drums or son. So, but songwriting, is that just you, or does you share the duties with daughter, mom, and also brother?
Basically me, maybe some friends. I have written with my sister, but most of the stuff that's come lately has just come straight to me, and we'd write, just be playing. But they're instrumental in it. We'll just play a riff, and then all of a sudden words will start coming to me, and we'll go from there.
You know, Tim, there's someone watching us right now, and they say, well, God is in my career, He's in my studies, but there's someone saying, well, music, wait a minute now, Tim, I don't know about music because we're jamming to that, but I know as a musician, you believe that God is very present in your musical inspiration. Explain.
No doubt whatsoever. I mean, it's just word and song. We sing what preachers preach, and we sing what's in the Bible. And we try to deal with everyday situations from one range to the other. Tonight you just heard Christmas stuff, but we deal with from one extreme to the other in issues, just trying to help people, not just churches. Our kind of music reaches churches, but it does reach the secular world too, but in a good, positive cause. And we're not straying from that. We're going to stay with it, because it's very important to take what God has given to you, whatever it is, music, and take it seriously and use it.
You know, you touched on something that I think is key. You said we go outside the walls of the church, right, secular. How key is that? Because, there are some lines of thinking that say, well, it has to be in the church, but we know that Jesus Christ touched others outside of church.
Going to the highways.
That didn't look like Him or talk like Him, but it was touching and changing lives. So you believe that's key?
I believe it. I believe it. Church is just a place for the church folks to get together and hear the singing, the preaching, but He commissions us to get out there and go. And to me, by knowing in my heart, with a little criticism from the inside world, that's okay. People are starting to understand that we're not messing around. We're for real, and we want to reach lost. We want to reach every individual that we can.
The ministry is powerful. I'm a fan of the music, arts, and teaching it in school. You have children that are instrumentalists. I love that. How key was it to say, I have a daughter that's interested in guitar, which you don't always see a lot of females necessarily. I have a son interested in drums, and I really want to push that. You have parents that are like, I don't know about the instruments. I don't know about singing. Maybe you need to stick to the books. I mean, the beef and the foundation. What do you say to those parents who are saying, I don't know if I want her to take guitar or piano lessons?
Better be careful. Let them do what God's called them to do and push them into that. Don't try to make them into it, because God He has caused people to be born for a specific time, reason, place, and thing.
Yes, He has.
And we've got to see this. I'm a trainer of dogs. I would train dogs, and people would say, how can you get your dogs to do all of these things? I said, I don't. I just see what they're doing, and I help them to go further in doing that. So that's what I see in this, or in an audience. I'll look at the audience, and we'll gauge what we're doing through that audience, or what you guys are doing. I'm sitting here thinking, man, I need to sing this song now. No, we need to sing this song next. And I'm driving Jennifer crazy over here with this.
But it's in the spirit.
Well,
it's natural, and it's in the spirit. And I think when it's in the spirit, there's always sincerity that comes out. And I believe that touches the lives of others. Man. You're about to sing one of my favorite songs. Tell us about it really quick.
Go tell it on the mountain. Oh, you need to tell it in the valley. You need to tell it in the desert. You need to tell it everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain.
Go tell it. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and your beautiful family. And take it away on one of my traditional favorites.
Absolutely.
On the silent flocks by night, behold, throughout the heaven there's shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hill, everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain, Jesus Christ is born. Now the shepherds fear and tremble, and low above the earth ring out the angel chorus that said, I said go tell it on the mountain, over the hill, everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain, Jesus Christ is born. Now listen to me. Down in the lonely manger, the humble Christ, He was born. It's God sent our salvation on that blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hill, everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain, Jesus Christ is born. We gotta go tell it on the mountain, Jesus Christ is born. Oh, we gotta go tell it on the mountain, tell it on the mountain. Yeah, y'all go tell it on the mountain, shout it from the mountaintop, Jesus Christ is born.
I tell you, Marissa, every time I hear that song, I continue to get goosebumps. It's a powerful song with a powerful message to the world.
It is. That's your favorite song, too.
Oh, I love it, lady. It does something to me. I do want you to know that we are live. We're streaming, okay? And if you're watching us, of course, on your television set, great. But if you have to walk out or you want to do something and you're on your cellular phone, don't worry, because you can still catch us. We're on Facebook Live, okay? Certainly search TV 57 WATC. And we're also online at WATC.tv.
Yes, and to all my early birds out there, we'll be back on tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on WATC.
That's right.
Yes.
Wake up with us, okay? Or catch us on your way before you head off to work.
Yes.
Well, speaking of work, we have a very special gentleman with us right now who's put in a lot of work, all for a great cause. And it's about touching the lives of others, and he has a very personal and professional testimony to share about how God has moved in his life. I'm talking about the very well-known, the one and only Nate Okinawa Slim Bryant. Mr. Bryant, welcome to Atlanta Live.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yes, I am so inspired by your testimony and the ministry that you have right now that is geared towards the community, towards helping people. You know, it's like your testimony is all about restoration.
Yes.
So please elaborate, please.
Well, you know, it started back, actually goes back longer than that. It started with my father, you know, what he did at the early age when the three boys that he had, we was watching him. He would take us on Sundays to go visit families. And when he visited the family, we always thought that we were going to be getting there, get some cookies and lemonade. But he actually took time out with the seniors. He was there with the seniors and helping and communicating with them. When he had his business, kids used to come about his business and ask for a quarter or a dime or a nickel. He took time out and gave it, and he educated the kids at the same time, which led me to the ministry. It all, again, because of what I believe and how we was raised up. My mom died when you know, with about 3 years, I was about 3 years old. So as a father was always there with the grandmother, and she always had us, the three boys, hold hand, go to the church. Every Sunday we was in church. So that's something that is instilled in me, is to be able to give back, because that's what my father was doing. So in 1999, when I had my first job, when I got out of the military in 1999, one thing that I was doing, I was going around and helping people. I saw a little kid that was at the school bus with no coat on. And so I got with some people, and we wind up giving that kid a coat at the school bus. The other thing is, I was working with a restaurant, can't mention that name. I was working with a restaurant, and they was doing like Christmas holiday toys and food for families. I volunteered myself to get involved with that. And I said, you know what? I said, there's a lot more that can be done. So, make the long story short, I said, one thing that we do in life is that we help people. We're supposed to.
That's what we're supposed
So that's how I came up with the word help them. It stands for HELP''M. Heal Everlasting Life for People Ministry. And so what that is, it took me 2 years to come up with the acronym for that. You know, just like that. And so I said, this is what I'm going to do. So I worked with about 20 families. And we provide food and, if you will, Christmas dinners and toys for the kids. And then my name got out that people were calling me and said, well, they saw a child or something that needed some help. Or families, you know, with the water bill that was cut off. So I partnered with some of the grocery stores, and we got the dry goods. The dates were good, and we backed them up and gave them out to families. One of the key things is, if there's a child in the home that can work, they will not deliver food to their home at all, because a child can get out there of age that can work if they really want to work. So, which led me into doing whatever I can every year for 4 years. I had like a total of 30 families that I was delivering food for, and I had volunteers. And the thing is, when you do something from the heart, you'll know it's going to come back. Because what happened was, there was a couple of people that went with me and said, wow, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing something in the community. And so they said, well, let us go along with you. What happened was, I can tell the heart wasn't there, because after a while they kept saying, well, how long are you going to be here? How long are you going to be here? When you're looking for volunteers to help out, you do it from the heart. And that's opened my life up a little bit more. And share something else with you. The reason why I believe so much, and I have this testimony, because I had a stroke. I had a stroke in 2009. And you know what happened? That's because you carry a lot of hatred and anger inside of you. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was traveling around the world. I was doing it for the wrong reason. And when I got out of the hospital in 2009, when I got out of the hospital, my minister said to me, he said, Nate, God still got work for you. You need to get up out of that bed and walk.
Always.
Do you know what happened? When I got out of the hospital, I had therapy. I had 6 months of therapy.
Okay.
And the doctors and the nurses said something's going on. My motor skills were coming back. On my whole left side. I couldn't even speak the way I'm speaking to you all now. And I'm telling you, I have been through it.
What a testimony.
So, you know, and with that being said, one of the other brothers at a church contacted me and says, wow, what a testimony you have. I'd like for you to come speak to my kids. And so I said, well, so I got to the Bible, and I started writing all my notes down, what I'm going to speak about with the kids. Do you know I did not read anything off that paper? When I got to the church, everything just came from in the heart. Everything.
That is powerful.
And, you know, and there's so many blessings. And every time you look around, and every time you look, I'm always doing something. Because I put a lot of, the Bible says on the 5-finger prayer, you pray for yourself last, pray for others first.
Okay.
I always believe in that because a lot of good things have come to light. No matter how small it is, it's been blessings in my life.
Yes.
I have traveled the world. Yes. I've retired from the Marines, over 20 years in the Marines.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
I've retired from a government job as an accountant, you know, just like that. So, you know, it just, so many great things. I have a beautiful family. We still work hard, still trying to make things happen.
Yes.
But, you know, I've been nominated for a Hall of Fame because I play pool too professionally. I work with at-risk kids through a nonprofit organization. At-risk kids, I just sit down with them and try to educate them in a lot of different ways, social interaction, how to build self-esteem, how to build the self-confidence up. So I do a lot of that. And I just travel, and I still do it. I work with Boys and Girls Clubs also.
You know, I know on the B-roll footage, they had a photo up of you. You've won national titles by doing Village. I want to talk about something, because you're a man of faith, right? And you also said a man of restoration.
Yes.
A man who had a stroke. But when we talk about billiards and pool, you're saying, for you personally, it's more than people saying, hey, we're going to shoot pool. You're saying there are life lessons that can be taught on the other side of it.
Yes.
Explain.
Well, what happens is I started working on a program with the at-risk nonprofit organization. They asked me to come in. I put a 24-page curriculum together for pool. So what happens is, being that I'm an accountant, I'm a mathematician, so I tried to show them that there's more to it than, because I don't curse, you know, I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't do drugs or any of that stuff. So I wanted to show them that there's something that's totally different, because back in the day, pool balls were for hustlers and criminals, but you wouldn't be educated. You wasn't being educated. So what I did was I take a 9-foot pool table or an 8-foot pool table or a 7-foot pool table, and I break it down in a geometric system that teach the kids that, you know, this is what you can learn, the math side of it, the angles. And I take rulers. I work with a company that provided me some rulers, and I had the kids come out and measure everything, and then they got something out of it. So they learn how to play pool because it helps motivate you. One of the things I did also for social interaction, I had some children that I was working with, and one gentleman came in because there was it was middle school and high school kids, and they were friends with somebody else, but they wouldn't communicate with the other ones. So the social interaction part was I pulled numbers. I made them teams. So number one, whoever pulled number one or number two is going to be a teammate. And they really liked it. That got a chance, an opportunity to communicate with the other ones and learn more about what they were doing in life and everything else.
And get outside of your box.
Yes.
Because I know, of course, you're a 25-year veteran of the U.S. Marine. Again, I said it before, thank you for your service. But I think it teaches you to deal with people from everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Not just who looks like me, maybe who talks like me, who's at the same education level. But you're saying be able to interact with everyone. That way, that can ensure more success and productivity, right?
Yes, it sure does. And that's exactly what happened. I had an opportunity to travel around the world. I took second in the World Championship in 2007.
Oh, congratulations.
St. Petersburg, Russia.
Very accomplished.
You know, St. Petersburg, Russia, you know.
Wow.
And I learned a lot while I was over there, you know.
I want to ask you about a tough part of your life. You brought up the stroke, which unfortunately is very common here in the United States for different factors. And God be the glory. You lived and survived it. And not only are you surviving it, you're thriving.
Yes.
And what a joy. God be the glory. Mr. Bryant, a stroke hits, and for most people I've known, it hits all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it can change your life. And
Yes.
for you, it was 6 months of therapy.
Yes.
And I've witnessed people in therapy. I have family and friends that did it. It's a tough road.
Yes.
And where you're often mad at the therapist.
Yes.
You're angry, frustrated about the situation.
Right.
You hinted at something that I think someone at home right now, Marissa, needs to hear.
Right.
You had a health crisis with a stroke, but yet you pushed through it, and you said because God was with you.
Yes.
You hinted at that. Someone right now, he needs to hear that. Maybe they have a diagnosis of diabetes, multiple sclerosis, lupus. Right now, tell them, and you can even look in the screen or look at them, let them know what God did for you and that he brought you through it, because as your pastor said, you had more work to do.
That's what it said. And you know, the thing is, always remember, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. Because let me tell you, that material stuff that's out there is not always going to be, but the intangible character that you have within you, and God, the Spirit is in you, like the other lady presented. The body without the Spirit is dead. Faith without work is also dead.
Yes.
And even though what was happening, one of the things I want to point out, don't carry malice, anger, hatred inside you, because that's something that's eating you up. It's eating you up, because it's not helping nobody. It's not helping you. It's helping them.
Amen.
And I cried for 2 days. They was asking me what was going on. I cried for 2 days in the hospital. I cried out all of that anger and hatred that I had inside of me, and I feel good. And that's why God said, "Was you know, remember something? I got you. I got you."
We have to let it go.
And I know
We
that.
have to let it go.
I know.
And to your point, Mr. Bryant, over the years, through childhood or adulthood or broken relationships or people being vengeful and spiteful, I think you bring up a good point. We have to release it, because the only people suffering is the person holding on to it.
Absolutely.
Often the other people don't care or they don't know, and in either way.
And they moved on.
They have. What a testimony. A childhood that your mother was taken from you at the tender age of 3 years old, but you had an amazing father. Rest in peace, God be the glory. You've gone on and you've made many strides for yourself. Tell our viewers right now where they can find more information out about the one and only Nate Slim, Okinawa Slim, Bryant.
Well, you know, only thing I'm going to say, if you Google the name, Okinawa Slim, that's my professional pool name. You know, I don't have a website or anything like that. I've taken that down. I don't have a website anymore for the ministry. I've had some problem with that. But the thing is, if you Google my name, Okinawa Slim, S-L-I-M, you can find out a lot more about me and what I do and how I travel. And it's all real. You know, don't carry the hatred in you. I'm a positive, I call it the 3 Ps, a positive professional person. And you want to try to live that way, you know, based on your character.
Amen.
Congratulations on all of your success, and you have much more work to do. What an amazing journey. Thank you, sir. You heard it. He's a positive professional person. I truly love that. And right now we're going back to a positive professional band, if you will. Not the 3 Ps, but we put the B on the end. The one and only Tim Montgomery. Check him out.
I went, team I've been